What's going on, Raiders? It's been a minute since I've last uploaded a decent video. Last video I did a review on a budget smartwatch, and I don't know, I haven't really paid attention to what all happened there, but I just figured I'd give some updates. So Charlene here is kind of out of service, as you can tell by the tarps. So I was driving it down the road, to kind of summarize the story. Driving it down the road, stopped to get gas, hopped in it, put it in gear, and didn't do nothing. And I was like, okay. So I messed with it some, probably for, I don't know, probably a minute or two. Nothing happened. So I was like, okay, well maybe the shift linkage came undone. Excuse me. So I get ready to climb underneath the truck, take a little gander. I get probably halfway, and I just see nothing but red. And I was like, well, shoot. So I had to call a tow truck, got her towed back home, and yeah, that's where she sits. I'm thinking it's either the front input shaft seal or the seal on the front of the torque converter. I'm sorry, the back of it. Well, no, I don't know how you want to put it. It's the lug where the torque converter sits onto the shaft of the transmission. I'm thinking that one of the two went out. So I'm either A, I already had the input shaft seal because it was relatively cheap, or B, I'm gonna have to replace the torque converter. So, but I've got something else. I got me a new pickup truck. Yep, I got me a pickup truck. A nice, small pickup truck. Yeah, pickup truck. Now, you may be asking yourself, how the hell is that a pickup truck? And I'm going to tell you. The reason that this is a pickup truck is because I'm going to turn it into one. You see, this used to be a fire truck for Goose Lake, Iowa. And it kind of moved around, saw some things, saw some Iowa, this and that. And at some point, someone fashioned up a gooseneck hitch, and they chopped the frame on it, as you can see by the terrible plasma cutting that they did. But at least they added an RV plug and a tow hitch. And these fancy lights that I actually put on, not them. Those are LEDs. I got LEDs for the front turn signals. I have yet to put those in. It's been kind of cold. It's kind of cold right now, but I figured enough people have said that I haven't made enough videos, so here I am. Out of the whole truck, pretty much this is the worst part. Just the grill. You can see here, someone hit something. And yeah, that's just glue. That's from me trying to glue this back on. All that black is just glue. That's the paint coming off. But yeah, I'm actually gonna plug my heater in because it's cold. Give me something to warm up with while I talk. Just give me a moment. Alright, we got the heater plugged in. It's not quite warm in here yet, because, you know, I literally just plugged it in. Set the phone down, plugged it in. There's the old trusty heater. Whew, warm the old hand up. But I figured I'd show you the truck on the inside. Yep, she's a manual. Got the old ratchet style handbrake that I need to tighten the tension on for the cable, or figure out if it's even hooked up. Doesn't have a radio. The heat's not working right now, but everything's there. It looks to be a brand new heater core, but whoever had it sometime between me and the fire department, someone pulled the hoses out from the engine bay and cut the wires to the fan. That's the fan right there where the orange wire is. But this is what I like about it so much. You can't really see the digit underneath there. 16,235 miles. Now, whether that's 116,000, 216,000, I really don't know. But considering that this was a fire truck, I'm going to assume that those are the correct miles. If that's the case, this truck is pretty freaking mint. It's got the old vacuum brakes. It has an RPM gauge. Has all the bells and whistles, like, you know, oil gauge. I don't really know why you need that. Alternator gauge. I don't know why you need that. Temperature gauge. Who needs that stuff? I had to pause because I was about to cuss. Oil gauge. I know, I said I didn't need it. I didn't put it in, someone else did. Tack, I put that in, I know. I'm sorry. Okay. All jokes aside. Anyways, so the oil gauge, I guess at some point stopped working. I don't know what the story is on that, whether it's just the oil pressure, like a little dome piece that goes on the back of the motor, or some wiring got fried, because this truck actually has a non-original motor in it, and I'll get to that in a second. But what happened to the original motor is it caught fire. It had, see if it'll focus, a 390, but not anymore. But the carburetor caught fire on that 390, and the guy put a new motor in it. Right now, the throttle and the choke are not hooked up, and I'll get to that as well. That can be hooked up, but that can't. I mean, it could, but I'm not going to. It's got a little air pump thing. I don't know if you heard it kick on or not, but yeah, because it's got an air horn. But it doesn't generate enough pressure to do the horn, so therefore it's kind of pointless. So I'm planning on getting a air tank to stick on here to at least just give it more air pressure. It's still going to be the same. It's still going to be the same air pressure, but the volume of the air stored is a lot more. So I just lost my train of thought. Classroom time. We'll just go with that. Classroom time. Okay, so think of it. How's the best way of putting this? Okay, so to give some insight, so tires. We'll just go with tires. So you normally in a passenger vehicle you put 35 pounds of air into your tire. Sorry. I worked all day today, and my brain's just... Anyways, so you put about 35 PSI into your tire, on average, for a passenger vehicle. Now, with that being said, you can take a tractor tire, mind you, it's obviously bigger, a tractor tire, and put the same air pressure, yes, 35 PSI, into a tire. Because whenever it comes to PSI, it's not measuring the amount of air in the tire like it is, but it isn't. It's measuring the resistance that is pushing against the tire. How much the air is pushing against the tire. That's how pressurization works. Is how much is pushing against whatever you're doing. So whenever you put your tire gauge on there, the air pressure on the inside of the tire is pushing against the air gauge, and that is what it's giving you your reading. It's not the volume. It's not the volume of the tire that is giving you that reading. It's not a fluid, because gases can be compressed. It's the pressure. The pressure is what you are reading, if that makes sense. Tell me in the comments if that makes sense. Hopefully I explained it good enough. But going off the tangent, so put a bigger air tank to increase the volume, not the pressure, because the pressure is going to stay the same no matter what, because that's what the compressor controls. Control the volume So that way I can still push the same amount of air pressure through this horn, but with more volume, which means you can do it longer. It's like, it's so hard to make analogies because I got nothing. Oh well. Okay. Used to be a fire truck. We already covered that. It's still got some of the, you know, fire truck bells and whistles on there. It's also got, which I didn't cover, a high. That's low, actually. So high, low. Now, I don't know if this transmission came out and they lost the bracket that goes around this, because this is original. This is all original. Like, this wasn't just something they added on. Like, this is actually original. It's, I mean, forward stamped right there, and it covers the whole thing. So this is original, but I don't know where the original clip went. So they got Gorilla Tape on it, which is whatever, I guess. Not real enthused about their fix, but, you know, it be what it be. What else? Obviously the dash is cracked, but that's no big deal. Oh, so to go off of the whole pickup thing, right? So you may be asking yourself how I can even do that, and I already asked that question, but to continue on, right? So this is the general plan of the truck. I told you I was going to put a bet on it, but I didn't tell you the overall plan of it and how it's going to work and why it's going to work. So first off, why is it going to work? So the reason why it's going to work is because these cabs, I think it was after the 80s, no, it was the 90s, they changed the cab designs on these trucks. So this cab is the same exact cab as Charlene. I know, it's crazy because it doesn't look like it, but it does. It does. So the reason I say it does is because if you look around, all the dimensions are exactly the same. The doors are the same, the roof height's the same, the cab pillars are the same, the overall shape of the is the same. The only difference is, and the reason that it looks wider, is because of the fenders. And I'll show you from here how much more the fenders stick out from the cab. And the tires also sit in. It's probably not the same as old Charlene here, but it's got to be relatively close. Oh, excuse me. I had a really big launch. It was steak. Boss man cooked us up steak. Actually, it wasn't the boss. Well, yes, it was the boss, but it wasn't his steak. It was some lady. Yeah. Okay. Oh boy, we better check if she's in gear. Give her the old... Yep, good. She's got some temperature to her. The starter's a little messed up. Come on. I flooded it. There we go. I've actually got to adjust the carburetor. That's why I originally came out here. But I figured while I was here, I would do a video covering the truck. So yeah. Oh yeah, you can definitely smell. Good stuff. Oh, this is one thing that I like. So, the dome light works. In old Charlene, the dome light don't work. It'd be what it be. I got a bulb for it. I put it in. It didn't work. So the wiring's messed up somewhere, or it's just the ground came loose. I don't know. I really don't care. It'd be nice to have one, but I'm not gonna go ripping off my roof just to go through wiring for one singular light. Probably run new wire. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Onto the motor. Woo! Slippery. 1 second. Ah! So that motor there, that's a 330. That's what the 5.4 Triton is based off of. And actually this is a 5.4. It's a 5.4 liter, but the 5.4 Triton was actually based off of this motor. A little history behind these motors is they used to be in U-Haul trucks back in the day. U-Haul wanted these motors because they were actually fairly reliable and could get the job done relatively easy. But there's a catch. So the U-Haul motors, they had a governor on the carburetor, meaning that you could only run these motors about, if I remember correctly, it was about 2,800 RPM is what they were limited to. So you were basically running about, I don't know, probably 45, 50 if you were lucky. So you pretty much always had to have your flashers on and you were in the right-hand lane all the time. But no, now she'll definitely get past that. We'll go over here and take a little gander at how high she'll actually go.
Oh boy!
Yeah. 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 She goes pretty high. Yeah. So the clutch is new. Oh God, that's cold. It's got a new clutch. It did have an electric fuel pump on it, which is there. But so the story on that was it was actually mounted all the way up here. Where is it? Right there, where that hole is, and then where the self-tapper and that one lone wire there, that was where the ground was, which I don't know why he didn't ground it to itself, but I guess it's whatever. But I put it here, and ran the lines and that, and the truck would idle and everything fine, but you start taking it down the road, and it was sucking all the fuel out of the filter. Like right now, let's see if we can zoom in. Right now, the only thing that's relevant to air is that one little air bubble that's right there. That's it, just that. So it's staying full. So so what I ended up having to do was, unfortunately, because I didn't feel like running an hour to town, hook up the mechanical fuel pump again. So yeah, it's got a mechanical fuel pump, unfortunately, once again. At some point somebody put flex pipe on this, so that's good. It's got an exhaust leak somewhere over here. I'm not really sure exactly where it's at, but it's over here. And the exhaust comes out right here, right next to the fuel tank. Not my doing, but you know, it be what it be. But we got us a K&N filter on there, of course. That's pretty much it. I mean, I don't know. I plan on, hold on. I keep jumping around with what I'm doing. It's cold. I'm trying to hurry this along, and I really shouldn't, because you guys are taking the time to watch this. Anyways, so slow down. So obviously I told you I was going to put a truck bed on it. In order to do that, I'm kind of tossing around the ideas. One, I'm either just going to leave the frame how it is and put the bed on there, and then put toolboxes in between the cab and the bed, which I don't really know how that would work, but I can get a bed, put it on the frame just to see. I could do that. Because there's a game that's relatively new. It has snow in the name and runner. Yeah, Snow Runner. The F750, I believe. I don't know. Someone correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Is in the game, and the way they have it set up is the frame is actually elongated, and the reason they set it up like that is because you can attach other things to the back of the truck, but I'm not going to get into the details of it. It's just because of the elongated frame, the developers thought it would be fit to move the bed back over the axles, which is what they did. So in between the cab and the bed is a bunch of toolboxes and yada yada yada, and it doesn't look half bad. But I don't know how it actually look in real life, because obviously it's a game and they can design the toolboxes to look however they want to actually make it look decent for the model itself. But real life, you can't really do that unless you have a ton of money, because scrap and steel prices are extremely high right now. FML. But all that aside, so I want to put different axles underneath this, because this is only two-wheel drive. Put four-wheel drive axles in the front, back and front. Probably from a Super Duty, unless I can find the actual Ford 70s Ford heavy-duty axles for four-wheel drive applications. Because yes, believe it or not, they do exist. If you go on Google right now and you search up four-wheel drive, let's just say F600, they do exist. But they're extremely rare because the trucks were made to be very, very heavy, and because they have the dual axle, or the dual tires, not dual axles, dual tires, they could get to where they needed them to go. Because a lot of farmers were the ones who bought these, the farmers and fire departments, and some construction companies. You know, it's just basically like the F650s and stuff today. What am I talking about? You get the idea. So there was really no need for them to do four-wheel drive, because the trucks were heavy enough to get them where they needed to go. But there were some places where the weight didn't quite cut it, and the weight actually gave it a disadvantage, so they had to put the four-wheel drive axles on these trucks in order to get where they needed to go. So they do exist. Someone in Iowa knows where they're at, but apparently the guy is really stingy, and yeah. But it's looking like the Super Duty axles will probably be the best idea and the best action for this build. With that being said, for a powertrain, I don't want the 330 per se, because, and this is why. So it's an FE engine. FE engines, don't get me wrong, they are good engines. They are great engines. They have a lot of torque. The horsepower, it's okay. Obviously the 427 and the 428, they're legends. They're literally legends. But the truck motors, they are not exactly the best for all around type of things. And that's what I like to have with all of my stuff, is an all around vehicle. Like if I want to go mess around with the boys, I can, like race them or whatever. It's probably not going to go very fast, but that's not the point. You want to be able to get that engine to high revs and it not shit the bed, dare I say. So with that being said, also they're also very, very expensive to rebuild, like twice as much as most motors. Yeah, so it's not a good route. So what I want to try and do is find either a 429 or a 460 again, and right out of the gate, just go ahead and rebuild it. I'm gonna run this truck as is until I get all the parts. I mean, I really don't care. It's rough riding because it doesn't have any weight in the back, but I don't care. But out of the gate with that 460, I'm going to rebuild it from the ground up. Probably won't go extreme. I mean, I might bore it out. It all depends. I haven't quite decided on exactly what I want to do with the 460 whenever I build it. But for sure, I know that a 460 is going in this truck eventually. Come springtime, old Charlene there, she's gonna get fixed. And yeah, so try and stay tuned for that, I guess.